We are live. This is Nate Miller from DigiFX, and today I'm going to show you the demo of Oasis Live and what we got going on here. So let me go ahead and just see if I can share this with my Discord group real quick. Oh, that's not it. Okay, so I wanted to share the release of what we're doing here. It's been a few weeks since I've gotten this together, but I had to build out some other cool stuff, so I'm going to share it with our team first, and then we'll release some of this in the public as we go. So I'm going to create a new channel in our Discord, and I'm going to call it, it's going to be live streaming. Okay, bring that to the top here. The new channel will be call live. Okay, so alright, so we should be good. Okay, so I sent out something to the team. They should be able to click on it. And yeah, there I am. Alright, so the purpose of today is just to showcase some of what we've been doing with the demo. And I am trying to build something out. And I want to share with the internal group here kind of the steps I'm taking to build out this demo for us to use. So let's go back here. Looks good. Sit down for a little bit. Sorry, there's old floors make it hard. Okay, and the only other thing I have to do real quick is I have to charge my computer. So 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Should be good. So you don't see it because everything's keyed out, but there's a lot of cords and stuff everywhere because this is using a laptop and a lot of dongles. It's my portable broadcast system I have here. I'll show you this light I'm using. Got this little mini light that I can use to shine on my face, and then I am using my I'm not using my portable green screen. This is actually our, I want to say it's our 10 by 8, or maybe it's 12 by 10 or something like that. And I'm not fully extending. It's only using a few, but so it's a little brighter because the key lights on the sides of me here, they're shining back on the light there, which as you can see, there's a lot more light, and which is why you see a lot more green on where I'm being keyed out versus actually on my smaller portable one with less light. I can still do a pretty good job of keying me out, but the lighting itself's off. So to fix that, it's called 3-point key lighting, right? And so the problem with this is that it's super bright in my face, but this is how we would try to light something to make it evenly lit. And then I can adjust the tone, how bright it is here. I can turn it off, and this is all running on a Sony battery, which I use for my FS100. So explain a little bit about the broadcast system itself, and as we start building stuff out, we will continue to be showcasing a lot of the platform itself and the different functions that we built into it. So what I've been focusing on really is we'll just play this out, and I'll walk us through what's going on here. And obviously, this is the the page that we're gonna start up. There's a few tweaks I'm gonna make along the way, and then you can see how this is flow and functioning. And I think the real goal for the demo state here is to make sure that we can deploy this, showcase some of the features, and also build in some ads to try to generate some revenue to build out the full functioning map. This is only a scene-to-scene demo, so it's not using the map and the instances. And that's only because I really want to build all that out to its full extent before we start building that in. So you'll see kind of where I'm coming at in this sense. And I'm also going to check to make sure the audio of Unity is getting caught up. I know the Spotify is probably playing right now. So we'll just go here. Okay. And that's only because I really want to build all that out to its full extent before we start building. Alright, so let me just make sure the audio is going to play if I start doing this here. So it looks like it's loading the title screen, which is going to take a little bit of time here. And that's something we're going to clean up in a second. But I'll play through all of this first to show you what it's like. Alright. So let me just make sure the audio is going to play if I... So when the castle comes on, so it looks like it's loading the title screen, which is going to take a little bit of time here. And that's something we're going to clean up in a second. But I'll play through all of this first to show you what it's like. Alright, so that should fix that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just play through this. So this is our title screen here, and I'm going to replace the castle with some mountains and some other cool stuff. But this is something I created for Disney XP back in the day, and I'm just going to reuse it because I like the clouds and the... I do have to crunch on the textures and probably replace the water here, along with maybe minimalize the other clouds at play, because our frame rate and even our memory on this is pretty high, I'm pretty sure. So let's just go ahead and look at that real quick. Okay, so for this to usually function, we have to pause it while in play mode, and then we should be able to take a snapshot here, and hopefully it won't take too long. But I've done this for most of the levels, which is why they're running, but I haven't done it for this one, and I haven't really optimized it for mobile deployment on a phone. I've built out some other levels that also run. This one is pretty choppy, and that's just really because I'm not using friendly particle effects here, like the clouds, and then obviously the water is going to take up a lot of that juice that we need to get it going. So I like this because I like how it comes in. It's very clean, and it sings a song and tells a story. I think we add more elements into this and make it kind of a fun landing title page. That'll be good. What I'm going to move into after this is really the menu where you go and choose the kind of game. So this page itself can also be a titles. It can be like a credits. We can do rolling text here, along with other stuff that comes up, I would say, through these rocks or something. And put a gray gradient overlay so it pops out more and it doesn't, you know, this is more in the background versus a foreground element. So it looks like the snapshot is there. Okay, so first off, we are under 1.83 gigs, which is good in terms of the optimization of what it has been in the past or other things. But if we look into what's taking up all the stuff here, it's clearly this 2D textures, whatever these are. If I look at this grass right here, I'm not sure where this is coming from, but I can click on it, and then I can go to my inspector here, and then I know that this hasn't been touched, and my screen's going to do some funny things probably because I'm recording right now and streaming, so I'm not really sure why it's doing that little green error there. But okay, we'll stop playing this since we have this. We don't need that anymore. And that should fix also that error. My MacBook is pretty hot when I broadcast and use Unity and all these peripherals. So I give it credit for working, but you can see there's some little. That's the downside using a MacBook and making it full throttle. This really is maximizing what it can do right here. But we can do our work remotely, and which is what we're trying to accomplish here. So we go over grass. You can see it's at max size. We want to crunch that down to like 512. And I'll usually do this in groups. I'll usually go to the folder of where this specific texture is, and I'll crunch out everything in that folder, assuming that's also getting called and pulled here as a big texture. But I don't necessarily want to do that for everything, because some things that are sprite sheets, if you crunch them down too much, they will become very fuzzy, and it's not, you lose a lot of the memory you're using for it anyway, so you might as well use a little extra space to make it clear. And everything needs to be dealt with accordingly. Like this one, I don't know how big it is. It's for a tree. I don't necessarily know which tree we're talking about here in that title scene, but I'm going to go ahead and just crunch that down. And if there's something that you crunch down too much, we can, obviously scale it back up, and it doesn't really hurt anything too much. Yeah, so all these are being called in the same folder. So instead of just going through every single one, what I'll do is I'll just select all of them minus this folder right here. I won't select the folder, so I'll go here, and then I'll go boom, 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 boom. And then these I'll just crunch down to 512, and that line just means there's different sizes already, so it's it will show 512 when they're all 512, but if they're all different sizes, because I already crunched one down earlier, it's going to affect it. Okay, so I'll do that for a few more folders like I did before. I just have to go through this and check which ones, and then I'll rescan this so it just gets the appropriate textures that are still big. And really what I try to do is I try to get rid of all the 8 megabyte ones down to at least these smaller portions here. I'm not sure how big those are. Probably a couple megs, or maybe a megabyte, maybe even under that, which would be good. And so this will help us crunch on the textures, and then we can focus on minimalizing the particle, because I think in this one it's actually more of a performance thing and less of a memory thing, and that just has to do with the fact that I'm running a lot of stuff here. Okay, so how do I, there's a way to deselect that in that list if I go there. Is it shift? Oh, you know what it is? I think it's the opposite. I think what you can do is go that. Yeah, so you can go command and click on this source, and then that will give you all the sources you have selected in that group. So same thing here. I don't necessarily know if 512 is good enough. Maybe it's too small for some of these. Again, if it's a sprite sheet, I tend to keep those bigger because there's more than one image on there. And for instance, our loader that you see in the game itself, the little gear loader, that is a sprite sheet, and that's crunched down a little bit, but not as much as a lot of the other stuff. This one right here. And so if I select that, yeah, see, I've crunched it down to 1, but I'm not going to bring it down any lower than that. So you got to be careful. This is something that's shouldn't be in this anymore because we took it out. And unfortunately, I think that you have to clear the cache and reboot it up to get that out of the cache there, which is also something we have to redo. But for the sake of keeping all this stuff small for the future, if we ever use this stuff again, I'll crunch it. Okay, just going through these. I know I did these earlier because I can see what group they're in. These ones might be new. Yeah, so I'll take these 4 right here, and I'll bring those down. So it is a little timely process, but once you do this, you really do help out a lot with the memory. And you have to do the same, obviously, for the other stuff. The mesh, the audio is clearly, the file there is huge, and I bet we can crunch it down to a couple of megabytes instead of almost 3/4 of a gig. I didn't optimize half this stuff coming in here. I just threw it in here, put it together, and then I come fix it later. And that's really just a way for me to try to rapidly build out a prototype and then optimize it. But if you know what you're doing after doing enough of these, I think it's pretty easy to say that you try to avoid that up front and you try to do it the right way the first time. And at least for me, in terms of animation and developing a lot of this stuff, I've learned a lot just of how the systems work and what really you can get out of that. So I'm concerned for my laptop getting hot, because the fact that it does that little glitch there tells me that it is pretty much working its butt off here, but it's not crashing. Alright, so this is a ground map here for the mountain in the background. That one will bring down to, no, it's far away, we can just do 512. I think I'm going to replace the castle with one of these. The castle was for when I was pitching another build to somebody here. Okay, so that's there, almost done here. I just want to go through these big ones. And it's another 2K map that I want to bring down to at least one. Should have done that last time. And then we'll just check out the audio one here, and then we'll crunch that down. That should be good for memory, and then we can focus on bringing the particles down to a relevant performance level. And I'll bust out the profile and look where we are in terms of the that. I don't think it's going to be too out of control, but we got that one. And okay, here's one more. All these right here. We will take all these textures and do the same thing. 512, boom. Textures are the culprit in a lot of this space stuff. Surprisingly, mesh, the stuff that creates the 3D objects, isn't the expensive stuff. It's the images that you put on the faces of that mesh that adds up to a lot. Like the biggest thing in this right now is, looks like it's well, it would make sense in this level how there wouldn't be much mesh though, because it really just is a title screen with canvases. So clearly this pirate ambiance is way too big. That is monstrous, and we need to crunch that down. So we will go ahead and do that now. And I think that's just because I found that somewhere. So I'll minimize everything, and the audio is in our alpha assets under the B's, and I just do these lettering systems may need to be refined. I just use these as a way to keep myself in check in terms of placement and when I'm using stuff. So the audio kind of is the B series of stuff I do. I don't really know what this final release has to do with that. But basically, there's levels, models, and characters on this level, on the very base, and then audio base, and then this is the next step of what you can do with those, and that's essentially what the lettering system means to me. I don't know why I didn't start with A. I forget why this is backwards here, but it's at least the thought process. Core game utilities is just a whole hodgepodge of different stuff. Same with the AR. I just wouldn't ever touch this stuff. This is all just core stuff I've reorganized and could probably be put into one big folder of assets, but I've sorted it out in better places. particle elements are just different particle systems we use a lot to attach to things. This is more effects, particle kind of stuff we can build into the levels. And then these are also variances of when I built out the other apps. So this stuff is kind of redundant, and I probably should clean it up. Portals, I don't know why this folder is there without a... Because I thought there was a portals one. Where is that? Yeah, there's a portal AR. So just got this interesting pop-up from the OBS studio. So I may have to come back in a second here. Alright, well, I'll just let me do it later. Important thing, it's working now. It wasn't working for a while. There was an update with Catalina on Mac, and it wouldn't work, so I'm glad they fixed it. Ever since I've found this broadcast software, I've had a lot of fun with it, between this and YouTube, and then all the stuff you can integrate. And I even broadcast live. I'm going to be in November. I haven't done this yet because I've been trying to figure out the best way to do it really fast. But in November, I'm going to start broadcasting live from the Magic Leap headset of all this stuff of Oasis. It's going to be super cool, and I think it's going to be a good way to promote this stuff. And I don't think people know it's coming, which is going to be a fun little thing to surprise people and put myself out there like a weirdo. Okay, so let's go ahead and find our audio. I know I got distracted there, but I wanted to explain some of the stuff here. And the lava chamber is just a level I've been working on, so I do need to eventually organize these better as well. I gotta know what other and then extra sounds, the difference between those are. But I have a feeling this is where everything I've been putting in here is. So if I look for the pirate, what was that? It's called Pirate Ambiance. Okay, let's see how big this is. Let's reveal this, maybe. Well, it says it's only... It says it's only 86 megabytes, which is still huge. But that said it was almost half a gig, I think, didn't it? Yeah, it says it's almost more than half a gig, so that would be more like 600 megabytes, which doesn't seem right, unless that's something having to do with it looping and the quality. So maybe what we can just do here is we can go into the this and crunch it down in here, which I do a lot. So it's normalized and compressing memory, streaming, quality. I think I can bring the quality down here, which I hate doing. Who wants to bring the quality down to something? But that might give us some smaller sizes there. I don't know why. I guess I'm reading this wrong. That's the actual size, right? It expands it when it packs it in. But for some reason it's saying it's a lot bigger here. It might just be a cache thing with the easy save plugin is a way to save states in the game automatically. It just creates these databases where it saves the state. So in case your game crashes or in case you find something that you pay for, it protects the game from. It's a lot better than the actual just prefabs or profile prefs, what it's called. Okay, so we'll try to let this do its thing for a second, and I will show you the rest of the demo over there. I want to show you the menu, and then I just wanted to clean this up because this is what I'm going to be launching in the level. I think it would be good. Come on, baby, what's going on here? sometimes it just needs to think, and I'm just going to be patient. What I do like about Macs is they're usually pretty solid, even if they get hot and slow down. They're usually pretty stable. Versus I've had PCs. Now PCs, don't get me wrong, Macs and PCs both crash. This computer does crash, especially when I'm doing exactly this, broadcasting using Unity and a bunch of other stuff like After Effects. It will say, "Hey Nate, you're asking too much of me." Like right now, Photoshop's open, and there's other stuff that you don't see in the screen that it's doing for a small little MacBook. So it's quite impressive. The music is a big factor of processing, and so I do this again because it's very portable and easy to travel with, and I just want to see if I can. I hope this is not gonna. Usually does this spins for a little bit, and I just have to reset it. It's because I've been doing a lot of changes with the imports and changing the sizes, so the caching is probably having a hard time. Okay, we got that. Come on, baby. You can do it. I believe in you. Alright, looks like